The world is not merely unfair, it is structurally designed to be opaque. It is divided into two distinct, uncompromising categories. There are the players and there are the pieces. You have felt this distinction your entire life, gnawing at the edges of your subconscious. It is that sinking feeling when you walk into a room, perhaps a boardroom in Canary Wharf or a high society gala in Kensington, and you feel utterly invisible. You are there physically, you occupy space, yet the gaze of influence passes right through you as if you were made of glass. You observe others, certain individuals who possess an intangible gravity. They command attention without raising their voices. They enter a room and the atmosphere shifts. They get the opportunities before they are even advertised. They receive the respect before they have earned it. They wield power as if it were a birthright. And then there is you. You follow the rules. You were taught that if you work harder, if you are nicer, if you are competent, the world will reward you. You stay late, you polish the presentation, you smile at the insults. You wait in the queue of life, clutching your ticket of morality, wondering why your number is never called. You are left wondering why your talent isn't enough, why your goodness isn't rewarded. Here is the brutal truth. The British politeness is too terrified to whisper. The truth that society conceals behind a veneer of etiquette and fair play. Power does not care about your intentions. It only cares about your leverage. You have been operating under a delusion. You have been trying to connect with powerful people by being a friend, by seeking validation, by trying to be liked. But powerful people do not need more friends. Friendship is a liability. It requires maintenance and emotional expenditure. What they need are assets. They need mirrors to reflect their own grandeur. They need protection from the wolves at their door. If you wish to leave the void, that cold, silent place where the pieces live, and enter the circles where the real decisions are made, you must undergo a psychological death. You must stop asking for permission to exist. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote The Prince over 500 years ago. It was not, as the moralists claim, a guide for the wicked. It was a manual for reality. Machiavelli looked into the abyss of human nature and did not blink. He understood that human nature, at its core, is driven by self-interest, fear, and vanity. If you ignore this reality, clinging to the comforting lies of meritocracy, you will always be a pawn. If you master it, you become the hand that moves the pieces. Over the course of this audio experience, we are going to dismantle the lies you have been told about networking, connection, and social climbing. We are going to explore Machiavelli's 13 ruthless laws of connection. These are not tips for your next LinkedIn post. These are psychological weapons. By the end of this, you will no longer look at a powerful person and see a superior. You will see a puzzle, and you will hold the only key that solves it. But be warned, once you see the strings, you can never go back to being a puppet. Most people fail because they approach power with an open hand, begging for a favor. They think connection is about being yourself. That is the greatest lie of the modern age. Being yourself is a luxury for those who already have power. For those climbing the mountain, connection is about strategic adaptation. It is about becoming exactly what the other person needs to see, until you are so embedded in their world that they cannot function without you. But how do you manipulate the perception of the elite without losing your soul? How do you play the game without becoming the villain? The answer lies in the 13 laws. Let us begin. Law 1. Never outshine the master. The first law is the law of humility, but not the Christian humility of meekness. It is the tactical humility of the spy. The first mistake you make when you meet someone of influence is trying to impress them. You meet a CEO, a director, or a thought leader, and your ego takes the wheel. You want to show them how smart you are. You want to display your wit, your knowledge, your capability. You think this earns respect. It does not. It breeds insecurity. You must understand the psychology of those at the top. Powerful people are often the most fragile creatures in the ecosystem. Their identity is built on a very specific foundation, being the smartest, the strongest, or the most visionary person in the room. This is their narcissistic supply. If you come in shining too brightly with your brilliant ideas and your sharp corrections,
You do not look like an asset, you look like a threat. Machiavelli warned us explicitly, it is always dangerous to appear better than your superiors. When you make your superior look bad, or even just lesser by comparison to your brilliance, you trigger their survival instinct. You strike at the very core of their ego, and make no mistake, they will bury you. Not because you are incompetent, but because you are dangerous to their self-image. Consider the court of Louis XIV, the Sun King. His courtiers knew that to survive, they had to revolve around him, reflecting his light, never generating their own. Those who tried to shine independently were cast into the shadows. So what is the strategy for the modern aspirant? Dim your light, deliberately. This requires immense discipline. It requires you to swallow your pride. Make them look brilliant. When you offer an idea, do not claim it as your own. Frame it in a way that makes it seem like their idea, or at least an extension of their genius. As you mentioned earlier, or building on your insight. Ask questions that allow them to give the answer. Create a stage for them to perform their wisdom. Feed their vanity. This is not weakness, this is camouflage. By allowing them to feel superior, you lower their defenses. A man who feels superior feels safe, and once you are safe, you are allowed inside the walls. While they are busy admiring their own reflection in the mirror you are holding, you are quietly observing their weaknesses. You are learning their patterns. You are securing your position. Let them have the glory. You take the influence. Glory is fleeting. Influence is currency.
Law 2. Conceal your intentions. We live in an era of radical transparency and authenticity. We are told to wear our hearts on our sleeves. In the game of power, this is suicide. A predictable man is a controllable man. If I know exactly what you want, I know exactly how to use you. If I know you are desperate for money, I can buy you for pennies. If I know you are desperate for praise, I can control you with a few empty compliments. If I know you are desperate for a promotion, I can dangle it in front of you like a carrot to a mule. Most people walk up to powerful people and their eyes scream, "I need something from you." They have the scent of hunger, and hunger is the ultimate repellent to the wealthy. To connect with power, you must be a cipher. You must be unreadable. Machiavelli advised, keep your friends close, but your intentions closer. When you enter a room, do not reveal your endgame. If you are there to close a deal, do not talk about the deal. Talk about everything except business. Talk about art, talk about philosophy, talk about the vintage of the wine, talk about their hobbies. Why? Because this humanizes the interaction. It removes the transactional stench of networking. But more importantly, it creates mystery. Mystery creates attraction. When they cannot figure out what you want, they become intrigued. The human brain hates an open loop. It wants to close the gap. They start to ask themselves, why is he here? What is he after? He doesn't seem to want anything. In that vacuum of information, they start to project their own desires onto you. They start to chase you to figure out the puzzle. Never show your cards until the pot is yours. Be friendly, be open, be charming, but keep the core of your ambition locked in a vault where no one can see it. The less they know about your specific motives, the more power you hold in the negotiation. You are the iceberg. They only see the tip. The mass that will sink their ship is hidden beneath the surface.
Law 3. Appeal to self-interest, never to mercy. This is where the nice guys are slaughtered. This is the law that separates the sentimentalists from the strategists. You need a favor, you need a mentor, you need an investment for your startup. So you go to a powerful person and you tell them your sob story. You talk about your struggles. You talk about how hard you have worked. You talk about how much you deserve a chance. You appeal to their gratitude. You appeal to their kindness. You appeal to their morality. And they might smile. They might nod politely. They might even offer a sympathetic good luck. But they will do nothing. Why? Because mercy is a burden. Powerful people are busy. Their cognitive bandwidth is maxed out. They are constantly bombarded by people asking for help, asking for money, asking for time. If they helped everyone who deserved it, they would be bankrupt and exhausted within a week. Machiavelli was very clear on this. In the context of connection, his philosophy translates to a simple axiom: it is better to be needed than to be liked. Do not ask for favors, offer transactions. But here is the nuance: disguise the transaction as an alliance. You must become a diagnostician of power. Before you even approach them, you must find out what they need. Do they have a rival they want to crush? Do they have a technical problem they cannot solve? Do they have a vanity project that is failing? Do they have a PR crisis looming? Identify their pain, then position yourself as the aspirin. When you speak to them, do not talk about your needs, talk about their interests. I see you are struggling with the logistics in the northern sector. I have a framework that can reduce those delays by 20%. I noticed your competitor is gaining ground on social media. I know exactly why their algorithm is beating yours. Now you are not a beggar, you are a partner, you are a resource. Self-interest is the only language that is universally understood. It transcends culture, it transcends class, it transcends morality. Speak it fluently, and doors that were locked tight will swing open.
Law 4. The art of strategic absence. We live in a world of over-availability. We are addicted to presence. You answer texts instantly. You say yes to every meeting request. You are always there, always on, always reachable. You think this shows dedication. You think this shows reliability. In the laws of power, it signals low value. The basic laws of economics apply to human behavior. Value is determined by scarcity. If gold were as common as gravel, it would be worthless. If you are always available, you are common. Common things are cheap. Powerful people respect time because it is the only resource they cannot buy more of. If you give your time away freely, you are tacitly telling them that your time is worthless. Machiavelli knew that a prince who is seen too often becomes ordinary. The mystery fades, the flaws become visible. You must learn to withdraw. This is a delicate dance. When you are present, be intensely present. Be warm, be charismatic, be fully engaged. Make them feel like they are the only person in the world. Give them the high of your attention. And then, disappear. Don't answer the phone on the first ring. Don't be available for coffee next Tuesday at 10 a.m. just because they asked. I am afraid I am fully booked next week, but I can squeeze you in on Thursday the following week. Have a life, have a mission, have a schedule that does not revolve around them. This achieves two psychological victories. First, it proves you are a person of value who has other options. It signals that you are busy, which implies you are in demand. Second, and more importantly, it creates the Zeigarnik effect, an open loop in their mind. When you are gone, they start wondering, where is he? What is he doing? Who is he with? Your absence takes up space in their mind. You are occupying their mental real estate without paying rent. And when you do return, your presence is treated as a reward, not an obligation. You have conditioned them to value you. Use absence to stoke the fires of respect. Starve them of your presence just enough so that when you feed them, they feast.
Law 5. The mirror of Narcissus. We move now from the defensive to the offensive. We move into the realm of psychological infiltration. If you study the ancient Greek myths, you know the story of Narcissus, a hunter so beautiful that he fell in love with his own reflection in a pool of water, unable to leave it until he withered away and died. Machiavelli understood that metaphorically, everyone is Narcissus. Every human being, from the pauper to the prince, is secretly obsessed with their own worldview. We walk through life with a desperate, aching hunger to be understood, to be validated, to have someone look at us and say, yes, you are right. The world is exactly as you see it. Most people fail at connection because they try to connect by talking about themselves. They say, I did this or I think that. This is noise. To a powerful person, your opinion is irrelevant until you have proven you are an extension of their opinion. To connect with power, you must become a mirror. This is not simple mimicry, it is a neurological synchronization. When you interact with a target, you must suppress your own ego and reflect their image back to them, but slightly enhanced. Ideally, the version of themselves they wish they were. Observe them like a hawk. If they are aggressive, fast-talking and decisive, you speed up your speech, you lean forward, you adopt a posture of readiness. If they are slow, thoughtful and pensive, you slow down, you lower your voice, you leave pauses in the conversation, you lean back. If they use war metaphors, we need to capture this territory, this is a battle, you use war metaphors. If they use sports metaphors, we need to move the goalposts, it's a home run, you use sports metaphors. This is called matching and mirroring in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, but Machiavelli knew it simply as survival. When you mirror someone effectively, a profound chemical reaction occurs in their brain. Their subconscious mind, the reptile brain that decides friend or foe, labels you as same. He moves like me, he speaks like me, therefore he is of my tribe, therefore he is safe, therefore he is intelligent. You are bypassing their logical brain entirely, you are hacking their trust mechanism. People do not want to be challenged, they want to be confirmed, they want to see their own brilliance reflected in your eyes. When you become the mirror, they will become addicted to your presence, not because they love you, but because they love the version of themselves that appears when you are around. You make them feel understood in a world that largely ignores them. That is a drug more potent than heroin.
Law 6. Become the gatekeeper of information. In the feudal age, power was land. If you owned the fields, you owned the people. In the industrial age, power was capital. If you owned the factories, you owned the market. In the modern age, power is information. But not just any information, secret information. Powerful people are tragically isolated. This is the CEO's dilemma. They live in a bubble. They are surrounded by sycophants, yes men, and middle managers who are terrified to tell them the truth. They are starved for reality. They are desperate to know what is actually happening on the ground, in the streets, in the break rooms. If you can be the person who brings them valuable, unfiltered intelligence, you become indispensable. You must become their eyes and ears. You must become the intellectual spy. But be careful. Do not become a gossip. A gossip is vulgar. A gossip talks about people for entertainment. An intellectual spy talks about dynamics for advantage. Curate your information. Did you hear what the competition is planning in the Asian market? I found a flaw in the new software system that the engineers are hiding from you because they are afraid of your reaction. There is a shift in consumer sentiment that the data hasn't caught yet, but I have seen it. When you trade in secrets, you elevate your status. You are no longer an outsider looking in. You are a conspirator. You are inside the tent. And there is no bond stronger than the bond between co-conspirators. However, you must adhere to the corollary of this law. Never reveal all your sources. Maintain a monopoly on your supply. If you tell them exactly how you know what you know, they can bypass you and get the information themselves. You must remain the necessary filter. Keep the source hidden. Deliver the fruit. As long as you are the only pipeline to the truth, they cannot afford to cut you off.
Law 7. The law of the useful enemy. Human beings are tribal animals. We are biologically wired for conflict. Sociologists call this in-group, out-group bias. We define ourselves not just by who we are, but by who we are not. Nothing bonds two people faster than a shared enemy. If you want to forge a deep, almost cult-like connection with a powerful person, you must identify what they despise. Do they hate inefficiency? Do they hate bureaucracy? Do they hate a specific rival philosophy? Do they hate the status quo? Do they hate laziness? Find their demon, and then stand shoulder to shoulder with them against it. Align yourself with their hatred. Validate their frustration. I cannot believe how mediocre the industry has become. It is exactly as you said last week. No one cares about craftsmanship anymore. When you validate their enemies, you are doing something profound. You are validating their struggle. You are validating their heroism.
Every powerful person sees themselves as the hero of a story, fighting against the dragons of incompetence or malice. By hating what they hate, you are saying, I see the dragon you are fighting, and I am here to hand you the sword. This creates a bunker mentality. It becomes us against the world. We are the few sane ones in an asylum of madness. We are the only ones who truly understand quality. In the trenches of that imaginary war, deep loyalty is forged. A friend will help you move house. An ally will help you move a body. You want to be the ally. But a warning, ensure the enemy is external. Never ever let the negativity bleed into your relationship with the master. The hatred is directed outward, never inward.
Law 8. Play to their fantasy. Machiavelli knew that men do not live in reality. Reality is cold, boring, and often disappointing. Men live in their fantasies of who they should be. The brutal, cutthroat CEO wants to see himself as a benevolent father figure guiding his flock. The chaotic, disorganized artist wants to see herself as a disciplined visionary. The insecure politician wants to see himself as a stoic savior. They spend millions of pounds constructing these masks. Your job is not to rip the mask off. Your job is to secure it more tightly to their face. Identify their fantasy self-image and then play the supporting role in that specific play. If they want to be the wise teacher, you become the eager student. Ask them for advice, even if you already know the answer. Let them lecture you. Let them feel wise. Watch their eyes light up as they dispense their wisdom. If they want to be the rebel, you become the accomplice. If they want to be the king, you become the loyal knight. Do not force them to face their reality. If you point out their hypocrisy, they will hate you for it. They will attack you to protect their delusion. Reality is painful. That is why they acquired power, to insulate themselves from it. If you are the one person who supports their delusion, who treats them exactly as they wish to be treated, they will protect you with their life. Because if you leave, the fantasy crumbles. You become the prop that holds up their self-esteem. This sounds manipulative. It is. But remember, we are not talking about friendship. We are talking about power. And power is theatre. Learn your lines, play your part, and wait for the curtain call.
Law 9. Mastery of emotional alchemy. Let us speak of the internal atmosphere of power. We assume that those at the top are calm, collected, and happy. This is a mirage. Powerful people are high-stress organisms. They carry the weight of empires, the livelihoods of thousands, and the pressure of millions in capital. Their internal world is often a storm of cortisol, paranoia, and decision fatigue. Most people, when they approach power, add to that storm. They bring problems, they bring drama, they bring frantic energy, they bring urgent emails marked in red. Boss, we have a crisis. To be untouchable, you must be the opposite. You must be the alchemist. You must transform their chaos into order. You must be the emotional anchor. When they are frantic, you are slow. When they are angry, you are steady. When they are paranoid, you are rational. You must learn to absorb their chaotic energy and reflect back clarity. You must become the person who says the 3 most seductive words in the English language. It is handled. Not I will try. Not I am working on it. It is handled. You are taking the weight off their shoulders. You are assuming the burden. You become a sanctuary in a noisy world. They will start to crave meetings with you, not because of the business agenda, but because of how you make them feel physiologically. You lower their blood pressure. You clear their mind. You make them feel safe. You make them feel in control. In a world of fire, be the water. If you can control their cortisol levels, you can name your price. Because while they can hire anyone to do the technical work, they cannot hire just anyone to give them peace of mind. That is a rare commodity, and rare commodities command the highest premiums.
Law 10. Assume formlessness. We arrive now at the defensive arts. How do you survive in an ecosystem of predators? Machiavelli praises the fox for its ability to recognize traps, but he praises the water for its inability to be trapped. Bruce Lee, the philosopher-fighter, famously said, "Be water, my friend." Why? Because the rigid break, the flexible survive. When dealing with power, the greatest liability you possess is your own identity. If you insist on being yourself, on holding fast to your rigid opinions, your specific style, your moral high ground, you become a stationary target. You will inevitably clash with those who do not fit your mold. Law 10 is the law of formlessness. You must have no shape, so you cannot be hit. You must have no shape, so you can fit into any keyhole. This requires a suspension of the ego. Some days the situation will demand that you are aggressive, be the hammer. Other days the situation will demand that you are submissive, be the anvil. Some days you must lead, other days you must follow with fanatical loyalty. Do not get attached to a single persona. A persona is a mask. Do not let the mask grow into your skin. Adapt to the culture of the person you are connecting with. This is not about losing yourself, it is about lubricating the social gears. If they are formal and stiff, you wear the suit, you speak the Queen's English. If they are casual and rugged, you wear the jeans, you loosen your tie. If they drink whiskey at noon, you drink whiskey. If they fast, you fast. Remove the friction. Make it easy for them to assimilate you into their world. The perfect spy is not the one with the gadget in his shoe. The perfect spy is the one who looks, sounds, and smells exactly like the citizens. He blends in so perfectly that he becomes invisible until the moment he decides to strike. Blend in. Be the fog, so you can stand out only when it matters.
Law 11. Create dependence. This is the ultimate Machiavellian law. This is the difference between a freelance contractor and a grand vizier. Law 11. Create dependence. Make yourself necessary to those above you. If they can replace you with a LinkedIn job posting, you are unsafe. You are a commodity. Commodities are traded, used, and discarded when the price drops. You must weave yourself into the fabric of their success so tightly that to remove you would be to tear the entire garment. How do you achieve this entanglement? Find a task that they hate doing, something tedious, complex, or frightening, but that is essential to their survival. Then master it. Take ownership of a client relationship that they cannot afford to lose. Hold the keys to a software system that only you understand. Become the bridge between them and the one thing they desire. If you are the bridge, they cannot burn you. And here is the crucial, darker nuance of this law. Do not teach them how to do what you do. Keep the skill esoteric. Keep the knowledge hidden. If you teach the prince how to fish, he no longer needs the fisherman. The goal is not independence. Independence is a myth in networking. The goal is mutual entanglement. You want them to wake up at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling in a cold sweat, thinking, "My God, what would I do if he left?" Once you achieve that thought in their mind, you have won. The power dynamic flips. You can ask for the raise, you can ask for the partnership, you can ask for the equity, because you are no longer an employee, you are an organ. And a body does not cut out its own heart to save money.
Law 12. Control the options. We often mistake the loud man for the powerful man. We think the one shouting orders is in charge. This is the illusion of theater. The most powerful person in the room is not the one shouting. It is the one who wrote the menu. Law 12. Control the options. When you present choices to a powerful person, do not give them infinite options. Infinite options cause paralysis. They cause decision fatigue. What do you want to do, sir, is the question of a servant. Here are the paths we can take, is the statement of an advisor. Curate the reality. We can do option A, which is risky and expensive. We can do option B, which is safe but slow. Or we can do option C, the option you actually want, which is efficient and bold. Frame the choices so that the option you desire is the only logical conclusion. You are coloring the cards before you deal them. This creates the illusion of control. You let them make the final decision. You let them feel like the king. You let them sign the document. But you built the road they are walking on. You chose the destination before they even packed their bags. Machiavelli advised, a wise prince should rely on what is in his own control, not on what is in the control of others. By controlling the framework of the conversation, you control the outcome. Never ask open-ended questions. Be the architect. Let them be the signatory.
Law 13. Radical autonomy. And here we arrive at the final, most important law, the paradox that makes all other laws work, the capstone of the pyramid. Law 13. Radical autonomy. To connect with powerful people, to truly control the room, you must not need them. This is the hardest law to master because we are needy creatures. But if your soul depends on their approval, if your bank account depends entirely on their charity, they will smell it. They will smell the pheromones of desperation, and they will treat you like a fan. They will treat you like a beggar. True power recognizes true power. You must cultivate a sense of radical autonomy. You must have your own kingdom, even if it is small. You must have your own code of honor. You must have your own vision. And most importantly, you must be willing to walk away from the deal. The person who is willing to walk away holds all the leverage. When you sit across from a billionaire or a titan of industry, you must know deep in your marrow that you will be fine without them. You are not there to take, you are there to trade. You are not a vessel waiting to be filled. You are a sun generating your own gravity. This energy shift changes everything. Your voice drops an octave. Your eye contact holds a second longer. You stop fidgeting. You become solid. And that solidity is magnetic. Powerful people are lonely because everyone around them is fluid, bending to their will, shapeless and weak. When they meet someone who is solid, someone who respects them but does not worship them, they are fascinated. They are drawn to the rock in the ocean. Be the rock. Be the sovereign of your own mind. Connect from a place of wholeness, not a place of lack.
Conclusion: the choice. Take a breath. Let those 13 laws settle into your consciousness. I know what you are thinking. This sounds cold. This sounds calculating. This sounds manipulative. It is. But look around you. Look at the world you live in. Look at the skyline of London, the banks of New York, the halls of Parliament. Do you think they were built on hugs, transparency, and good intentions? Or were they built on strategy, leverage, and a ruthless understanding of human nature? You have a choice. It is the same choice every player must make. You can remain innocent. You can cling to the childhood idea that the world should be fair. You can stay in the passenger seat, complaining about the driver, complaining about the route, complaining about the speed. You can remain a piece on the board, pushed around by hands you cannot see. Or you can grab the wheel. Machiavelli was not evil. He was honest. He looked into the abyss of human behavior, and he did not blink. He saw that we are driven by fears, by ego, by the need for security. To use these laws is not to abuse people. It is to understand them better than they understand themselves. It is to speak to their shadows, not just their masks. When you apply these laws, the dynamic shifts instantly. You stop being invisible. You stop looking for a savior. You become the strategist. You realize that powerful people are just players who learned the rules earlier than you did. They are waiting for someone real, someone who understands the game, to walk through the door. That someone is you. The 13 laws are not chains, they are keys. But holding the keys is useless if you do not have the discipline to turn the lock. This level of psychological mastery is not a destination, it is a daily practice. The world is designed to put you back to sleep, to make you compliant, to make you a pawn. If you refuse to go back to the herd, if you are ready to sharpen your mind until it cuts through the noise, then make the choice right now. Do not just listen,
Subscribe to a new way of thinking. Make a contract with yourself. Signal that you are done being a spectator. Welcome to the game.